Greetings! You're watching Septum Sen vs. the World. I'm Septum Sen. Today, we're going to talk about an anime that at first just tickled my fancy, but after watching it, I have to say it was, or is now one of the better ones that I have seen. And that is My Love Story. Now, My Love Story runs for 24 episodes. It is produced by Sentai Filmworks, and this version, unfortunately, the one that Kotobuki Jake got is much nicer than mine, is the standard DVD version that I got very cheaply off of Sentai's sale for under $20, which for a 24 episode series, that's pretty darn nice, especially after getting to watch it. This series has had quite a reputation. When it came out, great reviews, people in love with this series, and this made me go, okay, I do need to see this. I need to understand what this is about. Why do people like this series? So let's talk a little bit about this. As with most of these series, I talk about some of the main characters along with the plot. So the three characters that this really revolves around are Takeo Goda. Now, he is this young man, starts off in 8th grade and goes through high school, but he is, well, this guy right here. You can see he's slightly large in size. He is a bit oversized, this sort of ogreish appearance, and not in character. He's very likable when you finally get to know him. He's gentle, he's nice to everybody, and in general wants to do what is right. He's not the smartest person, not the brightest tool in the shed, certainly not the best empathizer, but goes out of his way to help others in need. So then, we have our second character, Makoto Okawa. This guy is the pretty boy of the series. Every woman is in love with this guy just by looking at him. He is the cool, kind of melancholy character that most women swoon over. He's got just enough athletics to make him decent. He's incredibly intelligent, and he's slightly aloof. Kind of the too cool for school type character. When you pair him and Goda together, they just don't look to fit. And when I saw this character at first, I wasn't sure how he was going to fit. But much like Goda, Sunakawa is a good person. He actually does care about his friends. And he will do what he can to support those that he deems worthy of that support. People that he actually feels are good people. He will help out others. And he has similar problems that, as the story goes on, are revealed one by one. Finally, we have Rinko Yamato. Yamato. She is the female protagonist of the series. Now, I'm not spoiling it because this is pretty much the whole of it, but she is the chief love interest of Goda, and Goda is her chief love interest. They are the couple that this series revolves around. In truth, this series involves two aspects. One, the strength of the relationship between Goda and Yamato, and the strength of the friendship that Goda and Sunakawa have. And then how those two aspects meld and become something different. So what do I like about this series? Well, the art style is good. I'm not exactly sure how I like sort of how they do the lips in this, but every style has a slight alteration and difference that just makes it interesting. And it's almost that slightly faded look. It's not overly colorful. Kind of almost looks like watercolor, but it's not quite watercolor. Something that you see in more artistic animations, and the animation style is fairly decent. Not too many corners cut. The music is well done. It's not something I'm going to write home and go, oh my gosh, it's the best ever. Nah, but I will still say that it is good. The opening and ender are good. It's not something I'm going to sit there and listen to every time. But still, well worth a listen at least once or twice. The strength in this series is in the character building. The three characters that they concentrate on are incredibly deep and well fleshed out. It goes in places and sometimes takes turns that you're not even expecting to happen. For instance, the relationship. The troubles, the turns, the things that go on in this relationship, it's something that you should expect, but you don't expect because it's not something that you see in every anime. It's something that's more relevant to people who think back to their first romance and they think to themselves, oh my god, I remember that. I remember feeling like that. I remember that awkwardness. I remember the joy that it brought me when I had my, say, first kiss or held hands for the first time. The series at points touches a nerve that hits you even on the emotional level. I don't tear up very often, and I didn't really tear up at this series, but I've come close a couple of times. And they're not necessarily tears of, oh my god, I'm sad. It's more tears of, oh my god, this is amazing. I rarely come to that when it comes to a series. So we've talked about the good. Now let's talk about the bad. Well, I feel like there could have been a little bit more to it. But in truth, I don't think it needed a lot more. Maybe an OVA or something like that. Something to show what happens in the future. But again, I'm not sure that it's needed. 24 episodes feels like it could pretty much fit what needs to be said about this show. Most everything that is to be said has been said. You can put more obstacles in the way of this couple. You can do this and that, but I feel like there was enough there to show. Maybe a brief episode saying this is what's happened afterwards, but at other aspects, the mystery as to what will go on, that sometimes is even better. Many people, of course, complain about, well, a lot of these anime, they center around high school. But there's a reason why a lot of these center around high school. High school is where we do a lot of our development emotionally, where we learn things. Most of us have been there. And being able to take ourselves back into those positions and understand those feelings once again helps improve ourselves just by looking back and reflecting. So I really don't find that as major a problem either. So at the end, I really don't feel that there were a lot of down points to the series. The biggest, I guess, is that it is strictly more of a romance and a romance comedy. So if you're not into that, sorry dudes. If you're a big Dragon Ball Z fan and you're liking that, I would not touch this anime. It's not for you. But for the rest of the people out there, I would say that this series gets a 9 out of 10. I think it might adjust down to an 8 depending on the relevance, but at least right now the relevance is very high. It's relatively new, but it's still being one of those that is acclaimed for being one of the better series out there. It's got a high rating on Anime News Network. It's fairly high rated on IMDb. Most of the people who like it who watched it really like it, I would be willing to say this one's going to have some staying power. That's a little prediction. Again, voice acting, art style, everything just comes about art and just has that slight pretentiousness, but not enough to really border on the high level. And then, of course, to me, I was entertained the whole way through. Every time I finished an episode, I couldn't wait for the next one. Well, I hope this review was good. And what did you think of this film? Or actually, I should say, of this series? Do you have a particular opinion? Let it be known in the comments. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you.